There is a quiet truth that many overlook while chasing wealth across distant lands. Abundance does not begin in the marketplace, but within the mind that observes it. Imagine carrying something small in your pocket. Not gold, not a charm blessed by ritual, not an object of price, but a reminder. A simple, silent reminder of how you choose to meet the world. Each morning before stepping into noise and desire, place your hand over your pocket and breathe. Let that small object represent awareness. Let it remind you that craving creates emptiness, while gratitude creates fullness. The one who constantly seeks more walks with a begging bowl that is never filled. The one who appreciates what already is carries a treasury that cannot be stolen. When you touch this object during your day, pause for a moment. Notice your thoughts. Are they filled with lack, comparison, and restlessness? Or are they rooted in patience, effort, and clarity? In that brief pause, you are choosing your path. Wealth follows those who are steady, not scattered. Those who act with intention, not desperation. Abundance is not only coins and comfort. It is the ability to give without fear, to work without resentment, and to rest without worry. When your actions are aligned with purpose, when your mind is not clouded by envy, opportunities begin to appear not by magic, but by clarity. Keep this in your pocket, the habit of returning to awareness. Again and again, through every distraction, every doubt, every moment of uncertainty. This is the true secret. Not something you carry in your hand, but something you cultivate in your being. Over time, you will notice a shift. The same world that once seemed scarce begins to open. Paths that were hidden become visible. People respond differently. Decisions become wiser. This is not coincidence. It is the natural result of a mind that is no longer chasing shadows. So carry it with you wherever you go. Not as superstition, but as discipline. Not as hope, but as practice. And watch how abundance quietly and steadily begins to walk beside you. Abundance begins within the mind. True wealth is not external, it starts with your thoughts, awareness, and inner state. Abundance does not begin in the world outside, it quietly takes root in the way the mind sees, interprets, and responds to life. Many spend their days searching for wealth as if it was something hidden in distant places, waiting to be discovered through struggle or luck. Yet even when they gain something, the feeling of not enough often remains. This is because the mind that feels empty will continue to see emptiness no matter how much it receives. In the same way, a mind that learns to recognize sufficiency begins to experience fullness even in simple moments. Consider how two people can walk the same path and live entirely different realities. One sees obstacles, limitations, and reasons to complain. The other notices opportunities, small blessings, and reasons to be grateful. The difference is not in the path itself, but in the awareness each person brings to it. This awareness shapes decisions, behaviors, and ultimately outcomes. A restless mind chases endlessly, while a steady mind builds patiently. Over time, patience and clarity create results that chasing never could. When the mind is constantly occupied with comparison, looking at what others have, and measuring one's own life against it, it creates a subtle but powerful sense of lack. This sense of lack becomes a lens through which everything is viewed. Even success feels incomplete because there is always something more to desire. But when awareness is trained to return to the present moment, to what is already here, something shifts. The mind begins to settle. It becomes less reactive and more observant. From this state, choices are no longer driven by fear or insecurity, but by understanding. This is where true abundance begins to form. It is not an instant transformation, nor is it something that appears overnight. It grows gradually, like a seed that is watered daily through mindful attention. Each moment of awareness weakens the habit of unconscious craving. Each act of gratitude strengthens the sense of inner sufficiency. Over time, this inner stability changes how a person engages with the world. Work becomes more focused, relationships become more genuine, and opportunities are approached with clarity instead of desperation. A mind that is clear does not overlook possibilities. It sees what others miss because it is not clouded by constant dissatisfaction. It takes action with purpose rather than reacting out of impulse. This creates a natural alignment between thought and effort, and from this alignment, results begin to appear. What many call luck often follows those who are attentive, prepared, and steady in their approach. In this way, abundance reveals itself not as something to be chased, but as something that emerges when the mind is trained to see clearly. It is reflected in wise decisions, calm effort, and the ability to remain balanced in both gain and loss. When the inner state is cultivated with awareness, the outer world gradually mirrors that stability, and what once felt distant begins to arrive without force. Use a pocket object as a reminder of mindfulness. The object is not magical, it simply helps you return to awareness and conscious thinking throughout the day. A small object carried in the pocket may seem ordinary, almost insignificant, yet its true purpose is not in what it is, but in what it reminds you to become. People often look for power in objects, believing that something external holds the key to changing their circumstances, but the object itself is empty of such power. Its value arises from the intention you give it and the awareness it helps you return to again and again throughout your day. When you first place this object in your pocket, do it with a clear and steady mind. Let it represent a commitment not to superstition but to presence. As your day unfolds and you become caught in tasks, conversations, and distractions, it is easy to forget yourself. Thoughts begin to wander, worries appear, and reactions happen without awareness. This is how most days are lived on autopilot, guided by habit rather than clarity. Then at some unexpected moment, your hand touches the object. In that instant, you are given a choice. You can continue moving unconsciously, or you can pause. That pause, though brief, is powerful. It interrupts the momentum of distraction and invites you back to the present. You begin to notice your breath, your thoughts, and the state of your mind. Are you rushing? Are you frustrated? Are you comparing or craving? Simply observing this without judgment begins to loosen its hold on you. Over time, this small act of returning becomes a practice. Each touch of the object strengthens your ability to step out of automatic thinking and into awareness. You begin to respond more thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Situations that once triggered stress or impatience are now met with a bit more space, a bit more understanding. This shift may seem subtle at first, but its effects deepen with consistency. The object also becomes a silent teacher of discipline. It reminds you that awareness is not something achieved once and held forever. It must be cultivated repeatedly in small moments throughout ordinary days. There is no need for long rituals or perfect conditions. Even in the middle of noise and activity, a single conscious breath can restore clarity. The object simply helps you remember to take that breath. As this practice continues, you may notice that your mind becomes less scattered. Your attention sharpens and your actions become more intentional. Instead of being pulled in many directions by fleeting thoughts and emotions, you begin to move with a sense of purpose. This steadiness influences everything: how you speak, how you work, and how you make decisions. In this way, the object is never the source of change. It is only a doorway, a gentle nudge back to awareness. The real transformation comes from your willingness to pause, to observe, and to return to the present moment. What you carry in your pocket is small, but what it awakens within you has the potential to reshape how you experience each day, and through that, how you shape your life. Gratitude attracts fullness, craving creates emptiness. Constant desire leads to dissatisfaction, while appreciation builds a sense of abundance. The mind often believes that having more will finally bring a sense of completeness. It says, when this is achieved, when that is gained, then I will feel at peace. Yet even after reaching those milestones, the feeling of restlessness quietly returns. This is because craving does not end with fulfillment, it grows stronger with it. Each desire satisfied gives birth to another, and the cycle continues without pause. In this way, a life driven by constant wanting becomes a life of quiet dissatisfaction. Gratitude moves in the opposite direction. Instead of focusing on what is missing, it brings attention to what is already present. At first, this may seem simple, even insignificant. The mind, accustomed to seeking more, may resist it. It may say that appreciation does not create progress or that it leads to complacency. But true gratitude is not passive. It does not stop effort, it transforms the energy behind it. Actions taken from a place of appreciation are steady and grounded, not rushed or desperate. When the mind is filled with craving, it becomes narrow. It sees only the gap between what is and what should be. This gap creates tension, and that tension influences every decision. Choices made from this state are often driven by urgency rather than clarity. There is a constant pressure to achieve quickly, to gain more, to prove something. Over time, this leads to exhaustion, and even success feels heavy rather than fulfilling. Gratitude, however, expands the mind. It allows you to see the broader picture of your life. Instead of being consumed by what is lacking, you begin to notice what is working, what is growing, and what is already supporting you. This shift does not remove ambition, it refines it. You still move forward, but without the burden of constant dissatisfaction. There is a quiet confidence that comes from recognizing that you are not starting from emptiness, but from a place that already holds value. As gratitude deepens, it changes how you experience both gain and loss. Success is no longer something you cling to out of fear of losing it. You can appreciate it fully without becoming attached. At the same time, setbacks lose some of their weight. They are no longer seen as proof of failure, but as part of a larger path. This balance creates resilience. You are less shaken by changes because your sense of fulfillment is not tied to every outcome. In daily life, this can be practiced in small ways. Noticing a moment of calm, appreciating the effort you have made, or recognizing the support of others, all of these strengthen the habit of gratitude. Over time, this habit becomes a natural way of seeing. The mind begins to rest more often rather than constantly reaching outward. In this state, abundance is no longer something distant or uncertain. It becomes something you experience in the present, not because everything is perfect, but because your way of seeing has changed. Where there was once a sense of lack, there is now a quiet sense of enough. And from that sense of enough, both peace and progress begin to grow together. Pause and observe your thoughts regularly by checking your mindset, lack versus clarity. You make better decisions and align with opportunities. Throughout the day, the mind moves quickly, often without awareness of where it is going or why. Thoughts arise one after another, shaping emotions and actions before there is any chance to question them. In this constant movement, it is easy to become lost in patterns of worry, comparison, or impatience. These patterns, repeated over time, begin to feel natural, even though they quietly influence the direction of life. To pause and observe the mind is to step out of this automatic flow, even if only for a brief moment. This pause does not require special conditions. It can happen in the middle of work, during a conversation, or while facing a challenge. The moment you choose to stop and look inward, something shifts. Instead of being carried by your thoughts, you begin to see them. You notice the tone they carry, whether they are rooted in fear, lack, or clarity. This simple act of observation creates a small distance between you and the thought itself. In that distance, there is freedom. Without this pause, reactions happen instantly. A small frustration can grow into anger, a comparison can turn into self-doubt, and a delay can become anxiety. But when you observe your thoughts, you begin to recognize these reactions as they form. You see the beginning of impatience before it fully takes hold. You notice the urge to compare before it shapes your mood. This awareness does not force the thoughts to disappear, but it weakens their control over your actions. As this practice deepens, you begin to understand that not every thought deserves to be followed. Some are simply habits of the mind, repeating themselves out of familiarity rather than truth. By observing them, you give yourself the opportunity to choose differently. Instead of reacting from a place of habit, you respond with intention. This shift, though subtle, has a powerful effect over time. In moments of decision, this awareness becomes especially valuable. When the mind is clouded by urgency or emotion, it tends to choose what feels immediate rather than what is truly beneficial. But when you pause and observe, even briefly, the mind begins to settle. From this calmer state, you can see more clearly. You can consider not only what you want in the moment, but what will lead to long-term balance and growth. This practice also brings a sense of steadiness to daily life. Situations that once felt overwhelming become more manageable, not because they have changed, but because your relationship to them has changed. You are no longer fully immersed in every passing thought or emotion. Instead, you stand slightly apart, able to witness and guide your response. Over time, these small pauses accumulate. They begin to shape a different way of living, one that is less reactive and more intentional. The mind becomes more familiar with stillness, and this stillness allows clarity to emerge. With clarity comes wiser action, and with wiser action come better outcomes. To pause and observe is not a withdrawal from life, but a deeper engagement with it. It allows you to meet each moment with awareness rather than habit. And in that awareness, you begin to move through the world with a quiet sense of control, guided not by every passing thought, but by a steady and conscious understanding. Consistency in awareness leads to real-world abundance. Discipline, clarity, and mindful action naturally open doors to success, opportunities, and balanced living. Consistency in awareness is what transforms a simple idea into a lived reality. It is easy to understand the value of mindfulness in a single moment of clarity, but much harder to carry that understanding into the flow of everyday life. The mind naturally drifts. It becomes absorbed in distractions, pulled by emotions, and guided by old habits. Without consistent effort, awareness fades and life returns to automatic patterns. This is why discipline, quiet and steady, becomes the foundation of meaningful change. Each time you return to awareness, even for a few seconds, you strengthen something within yourself. It may not feel significant in that moment, but these small acts accumulate. Like drops of water shaping stone over time, repeated moments of clarity begin to reshape how you think, act, and respond. What once required effort slowly becomes more natural. The mind, instead of wandering endlessly, starts to find its way back to stillness with greater ease. This consistency affects how you approach your work and goals. When awareness is present, your actions become more focused. You are less likely to waste energy on distractions or decisions driven by impulse. Instead, you begin to act with purpose. Even simple tasks are done with more attention, and this attention improves the quality of your efforts. Over time, this creates a noticeable difference in results. What may have seemed like ordinary work becomes a source of steady progress. Opportunities also begin to appear more clearly. They are not necessarily new, many were always there, but a scattered mind could not recognize them. When you are attentive, you notice details others overlook. You listen more carefully, observe more deeply, and respond more thoughtfully. This makes your actions more effective and your interactions more meaningful. People begin to trust your presence because it carries focus and intention rather than distraction. Challenges, too, are met differently. Without awareness, difficulties often trigger frustration or avoidance. With awareness, there is a greater ability to face them directly. You begin to see challenges as part of the path rather than obstacles to it. This shift reduces hesitation and builds resilience. Instead of being overwhelmed, you engage with problems step by step, maintaining clarity even when the situation is uncertain. As this pattern continues, the results extend beyond external success. There is a growing sense of balance within. You are less dependent on outcomes for your sense of stability. Whether things go as planned or not, there is an inner steadiness that remains. This steadiness allows you to continue moving forward without being shaken by every change. In time, what you experience as abundance is not only the result of external gains, but the natural outcome of a disciplined and aware way of living. Your actions align with your intentions, your decisions reflect clarity, and your efforts are guided by purpose. This alignment creates a flow in life where progress feels steady rather than forced. Consistency and awareness is not about perfection. There will always be moments of distraction and forgetfulness. What matters is the return. Again and again you come back to the present, to clarity, to intention. In that return lies the true power of the practice, and through it a life of depth, balance, and lasting abundance gradually unfolds.